Have to match. All right, we are
I think
recording.
our words
Are
were,
we
I'm
streaming?
glad we're not going anywhere today.
Go to church like that.
Yeah.
All right, reload.
Posts.
Videos. Oops, not jobs. Videos. There's no jobs on the Technorama page. Don't look.
No jobs.
And share as me. Oh, did you get the link for the feedback question in there?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Share on your own timeline. There we go.
What is your favorite port of Ports Past? Where did that come from?
Oh my God, you haven't seen that?
No.
So I saw it on, I think it's Make Use Of page, and I was like, oh, I got to share that on Technorama because we didn't do a show last week. I know we already had the question from the week before,
Yeah.
but I was like, I'll throw it out there and see.
Okay.
I did not expect that kind of response, so we got
All right, we'll take a look at that. Sounds intriguing.
Yeah. So music.
Okay, we ready to rock?
1 second, I'm sharing the post.
Yep. Okay.
Goodbye, stranger. It's been nice. There we go. I know I share it with no context on just song lyrics, but I'm doing it nonetheless. All right. Let me arrange my windows.
Arrange the deck chairs.
Yeah. Waiting for the Titanic to sink.
That's right.
All right.
And the band played on. Let's play on our band.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay. So welcome. We're about to start Technorama. This is a show about lighthearted stuff. So we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2. Technorama episode 572 for August 7th, 2019. Teaching old podcasters new tricks. Hello and welcome to Technorama. This is the podcast that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Hey, it's about 14 years late, but that's okay. We'll wait for you. Yeah.
14.
And, we've been at this for 14 years. Over 14 years.
Yes, over.
Well over 14 years. Oh, man, Craig. So if somebody said you're still going to be podcasting with Craig Stepp in 30 years, I don't know of what I'd say. Sorry, that's a line from something we'll talk about later. If you're a returning listener, viewer, thank you very much. We appreciate you spending the time with us. My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and joining me right across the table is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing well. Hey, if somebody told me I was going to be podcasting with you for 2 years or more,
I'd say they're crazy.
You're talking crazy talk.
This podcasting thing is going to make us rich.
Yeah, we were looking for it. I'm still waiting. We're on the long tail of podcasting. I'm still not seeing the success.
Rich in many ways, except currency.
That's true.
Hard
we
cash.
made lots of friendships. That's all that matters.
That's right. And we're going to be seeing some of those friendships in Dragon Con in a few weeks. So
yes. Let the panic ensue.
We might as well get that out of the way. We're going to be at Dragon Con, as usual. We've got our Technorama Comedy Forecast panel with Clinton Alvord from Comedy Forecast. Here, we'll give him a bell on that one.
Yeah.
We've got a Topic is Trek panel, which we'll give a bell for that. And I'm on a third one. What are we talking about? Podcasting 101? Something like that.
It's not worth dinging that one. I'm just kidding.
It follows our Technorama comedy forecast one, so you can just stay in your seat for that one.
Oh, yeah. That's an easy
Spend
win.
the afternoon with us. That's the tentative schedule. It's likely to change. They'll have the permanent schedule in about 2 weeks. So not cutting it too close to the bone, are we?
No, but I think it's safe to say our shows right now are like on Saturday and Sunday, so you can kind of keep an eye out for us.
And the parade, we got the parade Saturday morning. We've got a new parade person with us. Maybe drum up a couple more while we're there. We're actually going to be arriving Wednesday this year instead of Thursday, because I noticed that the calendar on the con said Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's spanning 5 days now, so there is content at the con on Thursday. It might be Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening stuff.
It's been creeping backwards.
It has. Why don't they just make it the whole month of August?
Yeah, then we can panic at the end of July that we got to go do
that's a lot of time at Gibney's. That's all I got to say.
Gibney's. Right.
Oh, God. Yeah, that would be a problem for a few people taking PTO from work.
I know. All right. Hey, we work remote, so we can just open up the laptop while we're hanging around.
And who's paying for your month in a hotel?
Maybe we find it. Well, we can stay in the office in Atlanta.
Yeah, just take a shower.
Yeah,
bring a few extra clothes.
Yeah.
Let's get on with our feedback. We've got feedback from last week, and you've got something special. Yeah. Here we go.
Letters. Oh, we get letters.
Oh, those letters.
We get your letters every day.
Oh boy.
Mailman,
wait for
mailman,
it. Wait for it.
Reach right in and
I'm waiting.
Oh boy.
Those letters. I love
Oh
those
boy.
letters.
Oh boy.
Let's find out what you got to say. Oh boy.
Oh, missed it. All right, we've got a Facebook question from last week, or last episode, on episode 571. We didn't have a show last week because I was on some business travel.
Yeah,
but
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, we asked you, what is the most powerful scene you've seen in a movie? Scene and scene in the same sentence. How's that for fun? Yes. And we got a number of contributions. We have the last death in Endgame. 4 times, and I still shed tears, is what Ben says. Mike Will says the police shooting scene in The Hate You Give. Haven't seen that one. Jack Mangan came up with,
no, I haven't seen that one.
With several of them. He says, I know it was you, Fredo. That's not a Lord of the Rings reference.
Right. I was going to say.
That would be, I know it was you, Frodo.
Yeah.
And It's Not Your Fault from Good Will Hunting. He also said, and of course, Luke blowing up the Death Star.
Of course.
I like that one. Scott Schmelzer.
Yeah, that was exciting. That was super exciting.
There are a lot of good scenes like that. Let's see. Danthal says, when RoboCop shot that guy in the dick. That was shocking.
Which one? No, I'm just kidding.
That was a powerful scene.
Yeah.
Scott Schmelzer puts in a link to the Champ death. Oh, yes, the death in the Champ. Remember, I don't know if you ever saw that movie, The Champ.
I don't think, if I did, I don't remember.
Steve calls out the diner scene from When Harry Met Sally. Always a classic. Amy Bowen says, of all of the last act of Get Out, and obviously I'll always have a special place in my heart for the scenes of the redemption of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, Get Out was good. That was a little intense movie. That was an intense movie.
All right. Well, we're going to have to go back and check that one. My sister Sue says, when Richard sees Elise in the portrait in the Hall of History at the Grand Hotel in Somewhere in Time. I know about the movie. I know where it was filmed. I've been there. I haven't seen the movie. So now I want to go watch Somewhere in Time. But that her description kind of reminds me of the closing scene of The Shining, where you see the guy who's kind of going all crazy in the portrait at the end that was supposedly taken in the 1920s. Oh, sorry, I might have ruined it. Former coworker James says American History X, curb stomping. Tiffany says Leo DiCaprio in the elevator in The Departed. Haven't seen The Departed. Tiffany also says,
I think that one's escaped me too. I've been wanting to see that one, but I haven't seen it.
There were some good scenes in The Revenant. I'll give you that much. Tiffany also says the climax of Seven. Did we see Seven? I don't know if I saw Seven or not.
It's time to make a list for you, Chuck.
I know. This is a great way to get movies.
Yeah, right.
If it has a powerful scene and somebody's stuck with it, I'm going to watch it. Steve Pritchard says, Powder running out of the open field and struck by lightning at the end of Powder. Okay. Final court scene in A Time to Kill from Patty. My cousin Jeannie says, the scene where Amy Grant decides not to sing the song, I Can Only Imagine, and the person who created, she called up on the stage to sing it for the first time. It is in the movie I Can Only Imagine, amazing movie based on a true story. Haven't seen that one. My cousin John. I got lots of cousins that seem to roam around Facebook.
I know. Your whole family's kicking in
Two of the
here.
most powerful and primal scenes I ever recall from a movie. He says Sophie's Choice and Seven. Okay, I'm going to have to go watch Seven now. That's 2 votes for Seven. A lot of people just putting in YouTube links. This is kind of
Write that down, Donna.
7. And it has a number 7 in the middle, too. Earl says docking the Ranger with the station after the explosion in Interstellar.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I thought Interstellar was a pretty intense movie, too.
Till the end. Till the end.
Till the end.
The death of William Dafoe in Platoon is what Scott says. Well, we got a lot of them. I'm only halfway through. Do you have any that stand out for you?
Yeah, I would say obviously Endgame. That was to me that was pretty powerful. Saving Private Ryan, the opening scene. I'm just going to skip through because we do have a lot of them in here.
Ken Mikeley has the guys walking off into the cornfield in Field of Dreams.
The reveal in the movie Arrival, which I think is on Netflix or Hulu. I can't remember which one. So if you want to see the Arrival, that was pretty good.
Oh, Lone Guys Night has a good one. The Matrix after Neo takes the red pill and wakes up in the real world. I just think the whole premise of the original Matrix was good.
I like it when he starts touching the mirror and everything, and then he, yeah. Let's see, Saving Private Ryan again. Spock's death. That, you know what? That was pretty powerful. I was with my mom to see that movie, and she was crying over that.
Wait, Spock dies? Did Superman kill him?
Yeah, Superman killed him. Now, did you have one? Did you have one you want to share?
There's several, and I don't know that any. I can't think of any off the top of my head that made me go, what?
Well, I can tell you, Full Metal Jacket, the bathroom scene. That,
okay.
Where, what's his name? Beetle. He has the rifle and everything. That was kind of intense for me. And like I said, I mentioned Endgame. That last scene, I got so excited when I see you haven't seen it, right?
Not yet. Nope. Probably going to catch it on a plane this month.
What, a 3-hour flight?
A 3-hour tour. Yeah, there's lots of
the scene with Captain America when he's fighting Thanos. Oh my God, that was just it brought geek tears to my eyes. I'm not kidding. I was so excited. I was mouthing the word what to Harrison. I couldn't speak. I was wow. It was pretty good. Let's see. I think that's a lot. There's more.
There's more. You can follow the link through the show notes if you want to, and I'm sure people will be contributing for quite some time. All right, you had another link in here. What are your favorite ports of Ports Past?
Yeah, so the website Make Use Of on their Facebook page, they posted an image of a picture of a bunch of ports. I think I've seen this on Wikipedia, but they said, "What is your favorite?" It said only true geeks will have a favorite port, right? So I said, "What is your favorite port of Ports Past?"
And they have lots of them on here.
We got a lot.
USB-A, USB-C, mini DIN, Apple desktop bus, Centronics Parallel 36, Centronics SCSI 50-pin, 50-pin SCSI 2, DVI video, VGA video. It's all over the place. I have
a favorite.
All of these kind of make me sick.
Well, some of them do. I tell you what, I have a favorite, and see if you agree with me. The Centronics Parallel, the printer port, or even SCSI.
I hated those.
Wait a minute, let me explain.
Okay.
The reason I liked it is because one, you could tell the connector was in there good, but the clips, I loved the clips on there.
Those things were always bent and never fastened right.
No,
you could get one in and the other wouldn't work. No, that's why I hated it. The bales are terrible.
Your Honor, let me make my point.
Denied. Throwing this case out of court.
The reason I like the clips is because people would wrench down the thumb screws on other ports, and when you go to unscrew them, the nut would come off the case. I hated that.
Now you got your connector and the screw and the nut, and somewhere inside the computer is the other side, the little
the loose nut part of the screw. Yeah, so that's why I like the Centronics Parallel. It was nice, big. It was easy to connect.
I hated those bales. Always.
I know it wasn't perfect all the time. They would bend, but that's what I said. And of course, I have to say USB-C because I find it very convenient.
Yes.
So I think it's actually one of the
Is USB-C
better
even on this
design.
thing? I don't see it.
No,
on
this
here.
is older.
Oh, this is
This is
ports
an older
past. Okay.
Yeah, so I said I like the Centronics and the USB-C.
I'm trying to think of something that's not on here. Because
there's a lot of weird
Yeah.
video ones I know people had over time, or companies had over time. But I don't
and
know.
then
There's a pretty good collection.
There's specific gender ones that aren't on here. I mean, there's DB25, but there was DB25. Remember you get a laptop and it had a DB25 serial port on it?
I know, right? Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
Yeah,
but there's some good ones in here. I think some of the weaker ones I didn't like were ones that didn't clip or secure at all, and that was like even the PS2 and the little DIN connector for AT keyboard, stuff like that. I always felt like they could just, fall out. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of memories in some of these old things of having to wire them up.
Yeah, see, there's one. There's a bus connect. Yeah, Myron Dupler has a picture of a weird connector at the bottom. I'm not even sure what that is.
Oh wow, yeah, that's the kind of thing I was thinking of. Is you'd have these weird connectors for your ISDN modem or something crazy.
Yeah.
Or Tim put it. That's the one I was trying to think of. The IEEE 488. It was GPIB, or as HP absconded it and called it HPIB. I forgot about that. It was similar in shape to the Centronics parallel port.
Okay.
But it was actually a bus. And when I first started working at my old company, they had these in-circuit development systems with these dishwasher-sized hard drives connected to terminals, and it was all just these cables connected all this bus stuff. So if you need another terminal, you just daisy chain these things along. It was an interesting thing.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'll give credit. I'll give a gold star to the Ethernet port because this actually lasted a good while.
Still, the RJ45?
Yep, RJ45 still used around from time to time. Not as much anymore. But.
All right. If you've got a port of ports past, let us know. We'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, and the more obscure, the better. So
absolutely, yeah. Can you find something? Makes you kind of want to go to the Computer History Museum again, Craig.
I was just thinking the same thing. You know what? Man. We may have to.
I was just in Santa Clara twice this week.
I need to find a way to get there.
Yeah, when you get to corporate headquarters, let me know, and we'll make a side trip to Mountain View.
Okay, deal.
We need to see if Stan still works there. Let's do the history thing. We don't even need a roll. We don't have an in-studio guest.
But hey,
so.
but. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Well, it doesn't matter. I go first. Where's the music? There it is. On this day in history for August 7, 2019, this is the 219th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 146 days remaining in 2019. It was on this date in 1782 that George Washington orders the creation of the Badge of Military Merit to honor soldiers wounded in battle. Of course, it's later renamed to the Purple Heart.
And August 7th, 1789, the United States Department of War is established.
Also on August 7, 1909, Alice Hoyler Ramsey and 3 friends become the first women to complete a transcontinental auto trip, taking 59 days to travel from New York to San Francisco. Wow, that's a long trip. Thelma and Louise got nothing on them.
No kidding. And there wasn't a cliff there. Did you say Thelma and Louise?
Yes.
Okay. IBM dedicates its first program-controlled calculator, the Automatic Sequence Controlled Calculator. Wow, that was an inventive name. Known best for as the Harvard Mark I on this date in 1944.
And I think later we have an article about a guy who's still running one.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was 72 years ago today that Tor Heyerdahl's balsa wood raft Kon-Tiki smashes into a reef in Raroria, and the Tuamatu Island after a 101-day, 7,000-kilometer journey. I can't read that number without thinking 101. He was on the seas for 101 days after he crossed the Pacific Ocean in an attempt to prove that prehistoric peoples could have traveled from South America.
Wow, talking about driving your point home. Also today, in 1955, Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering, the precursor to Sony, sells its first transistor radio in Japan.
Wow. Sony was born out of Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering. There's
TTE.
a weird factoid. Keep that for Alex Trebek.
Right.
It was on this date in 1959 that Lincoln Memorial design on the U.S. penny goes into circulation. It replaces the sheaves of wheat design that was minted until 2008.
Also on August 7th, 1959, Explorer 6 launches from the Atlantic Missile Range in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Viking 2 enters orbit around Mars on this date in 1976.
And August 7th, 1987, Lynn Cox becomes the first person to swim from the United States to the Soviet Union, crossing the Bering Strait from Little Diamati Island in Alaska to Big Diamati Island in Soviet Union, proving her point that primitive peoples could have traveled to Russia
by swimming the Bering Strait.
Yeah, that's right.
Without a raft.
I wouldn't have done that. I've seen Deadliest Catch too many times. No.
Happy birthday goes out of the state to French navigator and explorer. Oh boy, here we go. Louis de Freycinet. Go with that.
Yep.
Born on this date in 1779.
And Kermit Love, not the frog, the American actor, puppeteer, and costume designer, was born 103 years ago today.
But I have to wonder if Jim Henson did borrow his name for Kermit the Frog, as he was a puppeteer. Stan Freberg, who is also an American puppeteer, voice actor, and singer, was born on that same date in 1926. Weirdness of weirdness.
I know. Canadian-American magician and author James Randi is 91 today.
I could still, if you can fool him, you can make $1 million. Also turning 77 is American singer B.J. Thomas. He's hooked on a feeling.
And American humorist, novelist, short story writer, and radio host Garrison Keillor is born on this date in 1942.
I'm sorry, B.J. Thomas didn't sing Hooked on a Feeling. I just realized that when I... Anyway.
I just let it go. I didn't think about that.
I can... If Ben and Keith are out there listening, they're going, what? No!
Yeah.
Okay, also born on the same date in 1960, American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter David Duchovny. I want to believe.
I want to believe he's... this is his birthday. American actor...
come on, Jake Sisko.
Yeah, Sir Lofton, excuse me, born on this date in 1978.
He's 31 now. We're getting old. Listener birthdays on this date include T. Morris's lovely wife, Pip Valentine, on August 8th. August 9th is Matt Coe. 9th is Julia Pose. Oh my goodness, she's probably 23 now. Sam Martin is 10 years old. I mean, no, his birthday's on the 10th. August 11th is Steve Wozniak.
He's 23 years old today.
Right. He had something to do with some computer. You know, half of those ports were probably invented by him.
Yeah.
David Brewer is also on the 11th. He's Tyrion the Imp somewhere. Christine Fiore from Megapodtastic and Honey, You've Got to See This is on the 13th. We wish you all the best of birthdays. If it's your birthday this week and you're not on the calendar, you can get on the calendar by going over to chuckchat.com/wiki. Put it on there. We'll give you a shout out at the appropriate time of year. And if it is your birthday, happy birthday to you. Yeah. We wish you all the best. I think the music is just about to end out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let's talk just a moment more till we get to the end.
That's the way it was on this day in history for August 7th, 2019.
Yay.
It's almost like we planned this.
Yeah, almost. Hey, by the way, before we go any further, I just want to say, if you enjoy any of our podcasts, or hopefully one of them,
Wait,
we're doing
more?
A bunch of them. Yeah, we're doing more actually this month. The Dog Days of Podcasting. I know I'm kind of plugging my own stuff here, but it's plugging all of us. the dogdaysofpodcasting.com. You can go subscribe, be a listener. You can still jump in if you want to podcast for 30 days, but we're all podcasting for 31 days, and for the month of August. And there's I forget how many podcasts we got now. Dog Days of
You mean
Podcasting.
episodes or actual shows that are contributing?
We have 52 created podcasts. We got 15 participants
in the first 4 days. So what is that?
4 days, we got 52 podcasts.
Shows?
So you got a lot of reading or listening to do.
It's actually not that bad this year. People are keeping them pretty short, and I'm able to keep up and still listen to my regular content. So
yeah, I'm slightly behind, but I gotta keep up. But yeah, go over there, listen, and just support us. There's a Facebook page for it.
Good collection of content this year. Good collection of content this year.
Yeah.
All right. Want to give a quick shout out to the chat room? We do this show live every Sunday night, 9:30 Eastern. Well, almost every Sunday live. I see Michael King, John Clifford, Mike Wills, who's doing one of our Dog Days podcasts. You and me, Michelle Cook Lopez. We haven't seen her online for a long time. Good to see you again. Wow.
Actually, it's funny. I don't see her, but you do.
John Miller Jr.
I don't understand this Facebook thing.
Yeah, Facebook. What are you going to do?
What'd you say, John Miller Jr.? He's in there. Mike Robinson.
I didn't see Mike. We got to talk to
Mike Wills.
Talk to Facebook about their algorithms. We could help.
I don't get it. I don't see why you and me would be seeing different people here.
It has to do something with our friends. Like when I see my cousins online, you wouldn't see them because they're not your friends. It might be a privacy thing. But if they make a comment...
Wait, let me ask you, are you seeing this? Are you looking at it as Technorama or as yourself?
I'm looking at it as Technorama.
So am I. So why are we not seeing the same...
now that's just bizarre.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
No, I switched to me. If I switch to Technorama, does that change the picture? Yeah, I only see like 4 comments now. What's up with that?
Stupid Facebook. I'm taking this straight to Zuckerberg.
Please do.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the Hacks and Strange Stories. Okay, we're kind of following up on the Apollo 11 news because space news is kind of cool. So years and years ago, when the Apollo 11 came back, they fed some of the Apollo 11 moon rocks to cockroaches, and hilarity ensued.
They turned green when they got angry, and so on and so forth.
It's too weird to make up. NASA fed some of its precious Apollo 11 lunar samples to cockroaches and dumped it in the fish bowls and injected it into mice. And no, really, they did do all that stuff. NASA still has most of the moon rocks the Apollo 11 crew brought home, but a small fraction of the astronauts' bounty was used up in a little-known but vitally important set of experiments that ensured lunar samples were safe to keep here on Earth. Yeah, and I can understand that. You bring some foreign material home, you don't know what it's got on it. First time you do that.
Or it's on your hands or something, and you accidentally ingest it, so you want to know what's going on.
We kept the astronauts in quarantine. I mean, for safety's sake. It seems humorous now, but we didn't know, so better to err on the side of safe. So scientists were pretty sure that there weren't any potentially dangerous germs living on the moon, but they couldn't be absolutely sure. And while the retrieval of the moon rocks was an incredible gift to science, it could have been quite a curse on Earth if the rocks had turned out to be a risk to terrestrial life. So as part of the agency's preparation for the mission, NASA had to put together a program of tests. Quote, "We had to prove that we weren't going to contaminate not only human beings, but we weren't going to contaminate the fish and birds and animals, plants, and you name it." Charles Berry, who was in charge of the medical operations during Apollo, he said in a 1999 oral history, "Any of the Earth's biosphere, we had to prove we weren't going to affect it, so we had to develop an amazing program that was carried off really for 3 flights worth and a lot of trouble."
Yeah, a lot of trouble.
The astronauts themselves remained isolated from all but 20 humans for 3 weeks. From the moment Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin left for the moon, a collection of mice also shot to fame while the astronauts were in quarantine. They were injected with lunar material and were monitored just as closely as the crew, who were also joined in the watch. I hope they didn't get... Neil might have got injected with some moon rock.
Yeah. Well, did we talk about that story? I think we did, where the photographer was in the room processing the film, and there was a note on one of the boxes that
it's coming up.
Oh, did I put it in this
yes,
episode?
You did.
Oh, see, there you go.
Spoiler alert.
That's why I remember it so well.
It's the next story. Why don't you? Great segue, Craig. Not talking about pushing your own shopping cart.
I know. So this is in our Remember When segment. I'll just kind of skip ahead the intro.
Here, we'll give you a clue where we're going.
Yeah.
There.
There you go. Okay. So this NASA photographer, he was processing the material that Neil Armstrong and everybody brought back from Apollo, and one of them Neil had dropped on the ground. And anyway, I'll just kind of read the story. But so while the Apollo 11 astronauts were waited in quarantine while they were waiting on, I guess, the results from the rats, after returning home from the moon, a NASA photographer accidentally became the first person other than the astronauts themselves to touch moon dust. So Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins splashed down on Earth on July 24th, 1969, and were quickly whisked away to quarantine, where they spent the next 3 weeks being evaluated in case they brought home any moon bugs. So with the astronauts in quarantine, NASA staffers began decontaminating and sorting the astronauts' equipment and the samples that they collected. Now, while Aldrin and Armstrong were on the moon, they took photos using different types of cameras and film, capturing each other and their surroundings in the lunar environment.
Yep.
But as the astronaut,
Yep, I'm agreeing.
Okay. But as the astronauts were nearing the end of their extravehicular activity, heading back to climbing the ladder back into the lunar module, Armstrong dropped one of the film's magazines, a chamber that holds the film. He picked it up, packed it into a canister, and stored it with the rest of the film. Aldrin then left a handwritten note on the canister containing the dropped magazine, informing whoever handled it that the magazine surface was dusted with lunar soil.
And Terry didn't see it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the NASA photographer Terry Slezak, an interesting name, was unwrapped.
Yeah, he was on Land of the Lost. They were the guys with the bug eyes.
Yeah, these are Slezak. That's right. Yeah. He was unwrapping the film canister and he didn't see Aldrin's note. Slezak and his colleagues began unpacking the film, which was double bagged in plastic containers from behind a biological barrier. Force field, people. Read force field. He recalled in an interview with NASA, Slezak opened the canister with the dropped magazine, and there was a note from Buzz. He said this magazine is from Neil Armstrong. It was dropped on the surface, blah, 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 important magazine. So anyway, he got there's a picture of him at the very top of the article where he can see some on his fingers. And I think he actually mentioned that he remembered it being very abrasive.
It is very abrasive. That stuff is dangerous.
Well, I imagine in space you don't have wind and air to
exactly
for any kind of erosion or anything, and that stuff just kind of sharp.
Just like volcanic ash. When volcanic ash falls out of the sky, it's got no erosion, so it's very abrasive. It's got nothing but sharp edges. Same thing with the regolith on the moon. I mean, it was created by impacts, so it's raw, uneroded rock and dust, and if that stuff gets in your lungs, good night, Charlie. So
he went further on. He explained that, of course, when he realized what happened, he got some on his hands. They had to go through protocol, and they asked everybody to leave the room. He had to strip his clothes, clean off all the work surfaces with Clorox bleach while he's naked.
Nice going, Terry.
Yeah, one job, Terry. And do the showers. So yeah, that was interesting, and his day wasn't exactly as he planned. Hey dear, I'm not going to be coming home for dinner. I'm in quarantine.
And from then on, Terry became the guy who always looked for the note before he opened any packages.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. They said they opened it and then saw the note later inside. Well, wouldn't it be better to put the note on the outside?
I would have kept that note just for posterity's sake. It's worth far more today, just for your troubles.
That's true.
We salute you, Terry Slezak. We salute you.
NASA photographer, contaminant.
Technorama proudly salutes great nerd foul-ups of the...
Foul-ups.
Well, I wasn't going to say the other word. Speaking of foul-ups, we got some great pictures here from a look behind the scenes of the classic movie, 1968 classic movie, Planet of the Apes. Of course, the famous one with Charlton Heston. I remember watching that as a kid. It was kind of freaky, to see because at that time, seeing the mouths move the way they did.
They did a good job for what it was, or kind of articulating.
Today,
a little
it's kind of humorous, but at the time, I was a young kid going, "How'd they make them talk?" Or
I think what was also
you knew it was actors in there, but it was very realistic.
I think what was really convincing is they have a humanoid. They're standing upright and they look humanoid, but they got their face around the eyes, especially.
Yeah,
it's attached very well. It's not like just a mask sitting there and you can kind of see into the eyes.
And pretty much large primates, gorillas, chimps, they don't have the white of the eye, the sclera. I can't even say that today, but we'll work on that. Mm-hmm. Except in rare cases, there is one in a zoo somewhere that does. And it's bizarre when you see the eyes, like you said. It's like, those are human eyes. So
yeah, with a wrapped around a ape face. Yeah.
Well, there's some interesting pictures in here behind the scenes that Donna will roll. Everything from putting makeup on to, I think my favorite is, Dr. Zaius with his beach his beach hat on. And when I got
think
to
it's
that
funny,
one,
the ones that are smoking.
Yeah. For some reason, that made me think of Gunter from Futurama.
There's two things you don't see normally every day nowadays: smoking and monkey smoking.
Yeah. Even the apes did it in the 60s.
Yeah. They didn't know. Stupid monkeys.
With the sunglasses on and using chopsticks. It's just there's some awesome pictures in here. I encourage you to go through the show notes over at chuckchat.com/Technorama. Here, or we can do this one. Yeah, I like that one better.
Hey, when was the last time you saw Planet of the Apes? 1969.
Within the last 5 years or so. I don't remember where I saw it, but I did see it. Because the more recent one was on, and then I said, let's go watch the original.
Yeah.
Just to compare them. I was flipping channels when I was in Santa Clara on Thursday night, and came across Rambo, First Blood Part 1.
Yeah.
Actually, it was just called First Blood. First Blood,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But everybody calls it Rambo because the next movie was Rambo 2. No, Rambo First Blood Part 2 was the second movie. Anyway, the first one was on. That movie is terrible.
First Blood?
Does not hold up well.
Oh, yeah.
I watched for maybe 15 minutes and went, no.
Yeah.
Brian
I liked it when it came out.
It was different.
Mm-hmm.
It was still timely. This guy's a Vietnam Green Beret. We're all screwed.
Yeah. I'm curious where they take it in this next one. They're doing another one.
They're doing another Rambo movie?
Yeah, but he's like much older and like lives on a ranch kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because Sylvester Stallone is much older. He's 40 years older than what he was when he filmed this other one.
That's true. Yeah. So no, I'm curious to see how they continue that storyline, but we'll see.
Speaking of much, much older, apparently there is an employee who is still running a computer from 1959, and we thought the light bulb in the San Francisco firehouse was intriguing.
See, this, kids, is how you keep your job. You find a niche.
No. Do you want to narrate this one?
No, go ahead.
Okay. If you've ever worked for a company, you're probably aware that they tend to keep their computers running after they should have been replaced with something newer, faster, and a lot less buggy.
I think you could read in Windows Vista or 7 in there. XP.
There are, an NT40 server. Come on.
Yeah.
Fujitsu Taki Systems however, takes that concept farther than most. The company still has a fully functional computer it installed back in 1959, the FACOM 128B. I assume 128 means it had 128 bits of storage or something. Even more impressive,
surely not bytes.
It still has an employee on staff whose job it is to keep the machine in working order.
He wakes up every half hour, hits the button, and goes back to sleep.
I can't imagine, getting an internship for this company.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. Let's see. Where were we? The FACOM 128B is derived from the FACOM 100. Ooh, it was an upgrade. Described as Japan's first practical relay-based automatic computer. The 100, an intermediate predecessor known as the 128A and the 128B, were classified as electromechanical computers based on the same kind of relays that were typically used in telephone switches. Technologically, the FACOM 128B wasn't particularly cutting edge even when constructed. Vacuum tube designs were already becoming popular by the mid-1950s. Most of the computers that used electromechanical relays were early efforts like the Harvard Mark I, built in 1944. Hey, we just talked about that one.
I was going to say, we mentioned that one in the history.
Or one-off machines rather than commercialized designs. Relay computers did have advantages, however. Even in the mid to late 1950s, relay computers were not as fast as vacuum tube-powered machines, but they were significantly more reliable. Performance also appeared to have continued to improve in these designs as well, though finding exact comparison figures for performance on early computers can be difficult. Software, as we understand the term today, barely existed in the 1950s. Not all computers were capable of storing programs. All computers were often custom built for specific purposes as unique designs with significant differences in basic parameters. Wikipedia notes, however, that the Mark I was capable of 3 additions or subtractions in a second. A multiplication took 6 seconds. Wow. Better be a big number or a human could do it faster. A division took 15.3 seconds. Wow, this wasn't even one flop.
Hey, look, a 16-digit addition or subtraction on the 128A, it says NA.
Not applicable. I couldn't do it. It only went up as high as 4 digits or something. That's crazy.
That's funny.
The man responsible for maintaining this, Tadao Hamada, believes that the work he does to keep the system running... That was a text message. That wasn't me pressing anything. To keep the system running is a vital part of protecting Japan's computing heritage and making sure future students can see functional examples of where he came from, or where we came from, excuse me. Not just collections of parts in a box. Hamada has pledged to maintain the system forever. Dude, he's going to die at some point.
They're going to replace him with a robot.
A year ago, the FACOM 128B was registered as, quote, essential historical materials for science and technology, unquote, by the Japanese National Museum of Nature and Science. The goal of the museum, according to Fujitsu, is to select and preserve materials representing essential results in the development and science of technology. I thought my Apple IIe over there was going to be a piece of work, but this thing's got it beat hands down.
Mm-hmm. The video is kind of neat. Go take a look at it.
I did not take a look at the video yet, but I will.
Yeah, they give you like a little visual tour of a lot of the pieces of it. Like we were like if we were looking at the computers at the Computer History Museum, and you can see they have close-ups of all the relays and stuff. It's really cool.
The relays clicking. That must have been a noisy beast.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Sure it was. Takes care of Remember When. What do you say we thank our patrons?
Absolutely. As they deserved it.
They do deserve it. Thank you to our patrons who keep this show running and upgraded and hosted, because without them, there probably wouldn't be much of a Technorama left, and Craig and I would be left to foot the bill, and our wives would get mad and leave us, and it would just be terrible chaos. Yeah. So
we would have only been doing this for 3 years at that point.
If someone had mentioned that people would actually pay us for this show, wow.
Yeah. Wow. All right, let's don't undersell the whole thing.
Thank
for
you
them.
to the likes of Kyle Nishioka, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Mike Wills, Megapodtastic, Night Gig Studios, Gary Lindros.
That Gary Lindros?
That Gary Lindros. We'll be seeing Gary in a few weeks. John Clifford, Leon. That Leon. Maybe we'll see Leon again. He's like we got to see him once during that weekend. Hopefully he's at Dragon Con again. John Noble.
That John Noble?
I'd love to see John Noble. Thank him for all
Gary
the contributions. Just walk up to John Noble, the actor. Thank you for your being a patron. He says, yes.
Wait, are you that John Noble?
Are you our John Noble?
That's right.
Chris MC, Alexis Duran, Saturday morning. Wouldn't the joke be on us if it was?
Yeah, watch him go, yes, I'm finally getting what I deserve. Pay for it.
Saturday Morning Media, Steve Therian, Jorga Schrauen, John Miller Jr. I'm just ecstatic that this list has grown. Mm-hmm. Amber Elstad, Harold McKinstry. Thank you, Amy Bowen. Thank you, Denise Inglis. And Stephen Weshy. There it is. Dean Jensen. Dandy Man. And NCAF1. Thank you, everybody. If you would like to get your name enshrined on the show and called out while we are doing our thank you segment, you can go over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast, and you also get additional content exclusive to our Patreon people. Ooh, it's a secret. It's a secret. We don't share that with anybody else but them. So appreciate it very much. It's our way of just giving you a little something back to say thank you for your donations. For as little as $1 a show, you can help keep this show running. So let's bring that down and bring it back up. Oh, is it Media Corner time already?
It is.
There we are. Okay. Well,
welcome to Blockhead.
We gotta get the narration
Hey,
out there.
Where can I find some good information about music and TV and videos and things? Over here in the Media Corner.
Things.
And things.
We did see Ben and
Keith last night. We're going to edit that and put that in there. And
so
things.
I went to see Weird Al. This was an idea that Jack Mangan had brought up a few months ago. He said, hey, Weird Al's coming in August. I said, do you want to go see it? I said, yeah, I do. Been a fan of Weird Al ever since the early days in the 80s. You know, My Bologna and all that kind of stuff. When it was still...
another one rides the bus.
Yeah, that was another early one. I love Rocky Road. So it was at the Comerica Theater. He's got the tour is called Strings Attached. Weird Al Strings Attached. And because he's got a 41-piece string orchestra, 41-piece orchestra that goes with him. There's horns, there's strings, there's percussion. And for our case, he borrowed the Phoenix Symphony Orchestra. And when we got there, first Jack Mangan, Scott Tyler, Jack's friend Joe, and us went out to dinner beforehand, and had a nice dinner burger place, that kind of thing. Ate way too much, so we were plenty full by the time we got there.
I bet. Oh, by the way, I think Ben and Keith were there also.
Ben and Keith were there. We didn't see them until we were actually sitting down right before the show started. Line was pretty darn long by the time we got there, about a half hour early. It took us 20 minutes to take the line down the block, turn around, and come back. So we're getting in the mood for Dragon Con, standing outside in a line and in the heat. So
learning to queue.
Kind of saw a few people in the line that we recognized. And by the time we got inside, the orchestra was playing the Indiana Jones theme. Dun, 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 dun. And there was no sign of Weird Al. Then they went into, I think they played the Superman theme. They played like 3 or 4 songs, orchestral pieces, typically John Williams stuff that you'd recognize right away. Yeah. And I think they closed with Star Wars, but it wasn't the traditional, intro theme that you're used to. They actually started with the, I don't know what the theme is, where Leia's handing out the medals to Han and Luke and Chewie.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where it started, and it went on from there. Then the conductor comes down. He says, "Thank you, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed our warm up.
Thank you.
Act."
Good night.
He says, "We'll now be taking a 20-minute intermission, and then we'll have Weird Al." I went, "Good gravy! It's 20 minutes after 8. The show was supposed to start at 8, and we're." I was hoping he was joking that there was a 20-minute intermission. No, there was a 20-minute intermission.
Oh, really? Oh,
so
okay.
Weird Al came out at about 20 to 9. So I'm just prepping you, Craig, because I know your show's coming up.
No, it already came and gone. I couldn't go.
What?
I wanted to get. I did not get to go. We had something going on. I didn't get to go.
Oh, bummer, man, because this was not to disappoint. If the opportunity comes up again. Okay, here's my first question to you. Guess how old Weird Al is?
58.
59. I would have thought he was well into his 60s.
I think I looked it up recently, and I remember thinking, wow, he's close to 60.
For whatever reason, I always thought, when I was in my teens, anyone who was older than me was a lot older than me. But as it turns out, 5-10 years just ain't that much anymore.
Ooh, I looked up somebody, and I went, he's only 54?
Right.
Anyway,
so he came out and did almost, I'd call it a nightclub kind of start. He was singing sort of ballads.
Mm-hmm.
He did like a surgeon. He did just short little vignettes. Boom, boom, boom. 2 or 3 of them real quick. Going, well, I hope the whole show isn't like this. But then it started picking up, and he got into several costume changes. In fact, if I flip through my photos, I think I took a picture, at least one picture of every set he sang, every song he sang in the set. And he was animated. I didn't even recognize some of the songs. He did Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota. And right. I'll post some of these pictures. I should have loaded them up so Donna could be flipping through them. He did the I Hate These Word Crimes.
Oh, Word Crimes is a great one.
Word Crimes is a good one. He came down into the audience when he was singing what's that love ballad song that where he sings I hate you so much.
I would do One More Moment with You.
Yes, One More Moment with You. He came down and he was schmoozing up to the ladies in the audience, and he pulls out his boxer shorts and throws them at one lady. I mean, it was really tasty.
I would eat like shards of glass.
Poke my eyes out with a fork, disembowel myself. Yeah, I'd rather do that than spend one more moment with you. Yeah. So he did a lot of fun with that. He did MacArthur Park, or Jurassic Park is his version.
Right.
And then while the music gets going in that song, dun, 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 he sits down and his stagehand brings him a glass of wine, and he checks his phone and he takes a selfie.
Right.
Even when he's doing nothing, he was entertaining. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him recently, but he has aged a bit. He's a little bigger, a little rounder in the face. Not heavy set, but he's not that skinny, svelte man we knew in the 80s. That's for sure.
Right.
He did Weasel Stomping Day, which was rather fun.
Right.
He did, let's see, there got lots of pictures of Weasel
Albuquerque?
Stomping.
Did he do that? That's one of my favorites.
No. He did Tacky, which is his version of Happy Song, Because I'm Tacky. And he
which
wandered,
I actually like that better than the original.
He wandered all around the stadium, the venue for that one. He actually was good. Like within touching distance. I was fourth seat in, but Scott could have reached out and shook his hand. He walked right by, and Keith posted a picture to Facebook that was real good. If you look at Keith's picture, we're right behind Weird Al, so we were blocked out. Nice going, Al. He did his version of Smells Like Teen Spirit, so he dressed up as his Kurt Cobain character. And I think the funniest part of the whole show was when he was jamming out to Nirvana, and the lights are flashing and the guitars are blaring, and I looked back and the conductor on the orchestra back there is waving his baton. He's conducting. You can't hear anything from the orchestra, but there's some reason that he felt he must be conducting something at that point. I said to Jack, what, do you hear any orchestra? Why is he doing that?
Hey, it's his version of what do you call it when you nervous leg syndrome?
Restless leg.
Restless leg.
He did Dare to Be Stupid, so a lot of costume changes in here.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
He did White and Nerdy, so he came out on a Segway, rolling around, and of course his band members were also dressed, with glasses and tape and pocket protectors and ties during that song. He did Amish Paradise, And then he said, okay, that's it. Good night. Of course, you knew it was time for an encore. Came back and did I forgot what he calls it. It's his American Pie version. Bye, this here Anakin guy, the Anakin Skywalker song. And I said, I thought one would be nice, but while you're in costume, you might as well do Yoda. And he rolled right into Yoda.
You know what? The set sounds very similar to when we saw him 2 years ago.
Jack said he never saw him do Yoda before on stage, though.
Oh,
there was a really good R2D2.
I'm about 90% sure he did Yoda when he came to Charlotte, but I remember him. He did the same thing. It's like he came back out with in the Jedi robes and did. Why can't I think of the title? It's the song you're talking about, and then they did Yoda.
The only time he actually put on the accordion was for Yoda at the end. I thought that was interesting as well. But he was working hard. His hair went from light and frizzy to wet and scraggly at the end. He was sweating up a storm.
When he was in Charlotte, and I talked about this on our show, so forgive me if you remember me saying it. But anyway, we're all in the theater. There's stuff going on, like you said, music, and they start showing videos.
Yes, they did some of those video intermissions while he was doing the change. Yeah. It's amazing how many shows and clips they had in there. I mean, it was everything from Family Guy to Friends to Johnny Carson to
UHF.
UHF. They had the Naked Gun in there. Frank, they're not here to see you. Weird Al's on the plane. We're all watching there in the show, ready for the show to start. And they start playing music, and you hear him singing, but he's not on stage. And everybody's like, "Okay, when's he gonna pop out?" And then the video changes to where it's outside the theater, and he's actually coming up the sidewalk on the side of the theater. Okay,
and we're all watching. I'm like, "Oh, he's actually coming up." He started in the warehouse actually for the theater.
Oh, at the beginning of the show?
Huh?
Is that how he opened it?
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
Oh,
so he was in the warehouse. He comes out, and you see where we were all standing outside. We're all inside now. You can see he's coming inside. He comes in the theater, and then by that time you see him come down the aisle, and he did all that and came up on stage and started the show.
That's not how he opened this one. But they did have a couple of those little video intermissions so you could do a costume change and whatnot. And then the last clip would lead into the next one.
Yeah. I got to tell you, my heart was breaking because I could not go to see him in Charlotte this year.
But you've seen him once before.
I've seen him, and I will definitely go again. We had a great time. I took Harrison and his friend, our friend Sadler, and his sister. So we all went and for the mandatory fun. Had a great time. So I'd totally go again.
Yeah, if you get a chance, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. And last but not least, in the Geek Library, we threw in a link that Craig shared with me a week or so ago about an AI who stays on the line and frustrates a telemarketer for 15 minutes.
Yes.
And it actually sounds like a real person with mental issues.
Yeah.
I got about 3 minutes into this and I went, okay, that's enough. I get the idea.
I actually started. I listened to the whole thing. I had it playing, and I was working, and I was like, "This is hilarious," because it sounds like So anyway, this guy. Actually, it's a website. You can go and I think you can set up forwarding on your phone, and it will actually pick up when you have a scammer call you.
Nice.
But basically, what it does is telemarketer. Let's see. I was going to get down to where it talks about what it is. But what it is, it's AI, and it uses IBM's Watson. So the idea is when telemarketers call in, they get routed to the robot, and the robot keeps a conversation with them and ties up them so they don't call more people. It basically ties up their time. So it's funny because at some points it really sounds natural, and you hear the robot yelling off in the hey, the toilet paper's under the sink, and you're like,
I could have been an Olympic skater. It's just random stuff, and the lady say, excuse me, did I call it a bad time?
And sometimes right when she was about to, okay, sir, I gotta go, the robot would say something and make her go, oh, okay, maybe he is interested in this deal.
Oh, stringing her along.
And it was stringing her along. And then the supervisor gets on. Now there's more. If you go to the YouTube channel where I listen to this, there's more of them. But the supervisor, you could hear, and the guy that made the video, he enhanced it at the end of the call so you could hear. But he was trying to tell her that this was a bot, and she was like, "But he's like responding to me," and she just did not want to believe that it was a bot. And he was like, "No, it's a bot. Just let it go." And every time she was about to let it go, and she was like, "Okay, sir, we'll just call you back next week." Well, yeah, I am looking for a cruise. Okay, well, or something. But it is a little convincing. But then one of the videos I saw, I say videos, it's audio only, but on YouTube, the guy was explaining to the telemarketer that it was a bot, and he says, and you'll see that you'll hear some and ahs and in the right places, and you could hear the robot in the background.
Now, if you wanted to make some money, you said that you could forward it and record it and then sell that back to the people. I'd listen to this just to see how funny, it's like, oh yeah, there's that number I forwarded last night that I didn't recognize.
Yeah, I think actually, the Jolly Roger telephone .com, jollyrogertelephone.com. You can sign up for it. No, there's a cost for you to do this, but they will send you recordings of what happened.
Okay.
So there's the 30-day free trial. I was thinking about, it's $1 a month. That's almost worth it.
Oh, heck yeah.
All right. I'm going to go back and look at that.
Considering you get a handful of these a week, at least.
Oh, that would be hilarious. We may have to, I wonder if we could do that with our Technorama number.
There's your dog days of podcasting.
Cost me $1 this month. Yeah.
It's cheaper than signing up for Alphonic.
Yeah. Hey, before we sign off, I know everybody's got a theme for their dog days. I don't really have a theme, but what are you doing?
I am digitizing my vinyl collection and then reporting on what I digitized. So complete with hisses, pops, and scratches. So I pull out a vinyl album, I throw it on the turntable, I turn it into a WAV file, and tell you what I think about it. And I try to remember where I got these things. Some came from my own collection over the years. Some came from my brother when he went in the Army. Some, I have no idea where these came from. They may have been garage sale. They may have been a gift. They may have just shown up. So there's memories involved with each of these. I'm not playing any audio clips for licensing reasons, but I may try to sneak in a little hint here or there of what's happening.
I think if you do like a 30-second something.
The collection is all over the place. There is not one genre. It's like everything.
No, I was just saying you could play a little 30-second clip or something, not too crazy.
No, I'm not going to. All right. Not worth it for me.
All right, fine. Whatever.
Not worth it for me.
Well, for me, I did this 2 years ago. I'm kind of reviewing some comics that I randomly pulled out of my comic boxes.
I thought that was your theme last year.
Actually, I looked and I thought so too, but it said 2017.
Okay. What did you do last year?
I don't remember.
I don't think you did one. You kind of fell on your face one of those years. That might have been last year.
It may have been last year. But 2017, I just pulled out a bunch of comics and I was reviewing. I'm doing some of that still because I like looking back through them. And anyway, so I'm reviewing some of those, but I'm making a point to actually watch some material that I haven't seen before. Like as I mentioned in my first episode, I fall on certain movies and TV shows like comfort food. I'll watch Star Trek. I'll sit there and watch a Star Trek movie or TNG or something like that, or any of the Marvel movies, stuff like that. I've seen a million times. But there's a lot of things I haven't seen that I've been kind of stacking up, like on Netflix and Amazon Prime, that I want to review, kind of look at and just give my thoughts about it. So I just recently watched The Boys from Amazon, which it's very adult and very violent.
I heard about that. Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but it was borderline for me. And on some things I'm like, I don't know. It was just, the level of violence anyway, it was good though. And I think the acting, everything was spot on. But It was just dark overall. That's the whole thing.
I just finished up. Speaking of Netflix, I just finished up with Another Life. It's a sci-fi movie with Katie Sackhoff.
I was going to talk about that one. Probably my next one because I watched about 4 episodes so far.
Yeah, stick with it. It feels a little slow at times, but it's worth sticking with it. I mean, it's obviously season 1. Hopefully they'll renew it because the story is far from over.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Well, good. See, I'm going to talk about that probably in the next day or so too. And I'm going to look at Swamp Thing, which is on DC Universe.
Mm-hmm.
That's on my list. At least check out an episode or 2 before I talk about it. So.
All right. Well, that takes us to our question of the week. Who is your geek/nerd idol or hero? This ought to be interesting.
Weird Al.
He was an influence. I wouldn't say he's my hero.
Right. True.
But
how would you define hero?
I'm going to let the audience figure that one out.
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
So we leave you with that question. And that takes us to the end of the show. Thank you for joining us. Whether you are listening or viewing or listening to the viewing. We don't know, but we appreciate it anyway. You can get a hold of us at the number on the screen if you're watching, 707-530-2428. We'd love to hear from you. And send us an email, technorama@chuckchat.com. You can find us all over the place. Go to chuckchat.com/technorama for the show notes. Click through, see some of those ape smoking cigarettes or the guy with moon dust on his fingers. Great collection of pictures this time. So if you're listening, definitely go take a look, and you'll find us all the links there as well. Subscribe via your favorite podcatching client. We've got a whole new set of badges updated. Thank you, Craig, for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Got us all updated with new links and new icons. So whatever way you consume this, we appreciate it very much. Until next time, we wish you all the best. Tell a friend about Technorama, or if they're sitting there next to you in the car going, "What is that?" Say, "Well, here you go."
Turn it down real low and keep moving.
Till then, give us a binary high five, Craig.
All right. 101, everybody.
Bye. That one is recorded. Thank you very much, everybody on Facebook and YouTube for watching, hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you again next time. And with that, Donna's going to hit the button.
Bye.
We should have one of those things like Mr. Science Theater. Push the button, Donna.